Hi guys. Oh, I have not done this on my computer yet, so you must be patient with me. Um, I am here to try to make sure that you guys are not as confused as I once was. Years of reading dog food labels has made my brain mush. But something that definitely helped me was my son's food allergies for the last 10 years. I've had to deal with and learn how to read ingredient labels. And so it made me a little bit more averse in what I was reading. And I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about it and see, what your thoughts were. And I get messages every day about people, what dog food, and how do I read the labels, and what's good for my dog, and all these things compiled together. And I probably just this week got 22 messages about dog food. So, and especially with all the scares and all the recalls, my dogs are my everything. Just like my kids, I feed them organic, and I try my best to make sure I cook meals, and it's the same thing for your dog. You want a little bit of conveniency with the dry food brands, and that's what I'm here to help you do right this second, is read dog food labels. My son is aggravating one of my dogs downstairs. So this is ingredients. This is the back of a bag of dog food here. I know it's backwards for you guys, and I will work on it and really explain to you what I'm telling you and looking at myself. So the biggest thing, you get your ingredients list here, and it's recipes, ingredients, and it's going to have this huge paragraph of listed things that's in your food. So first off, the top of the list is by weight. It's how much is in your food. So the most of what your dog food is comprised of is in the first line, basically. Then as it goes down, the very last one is the least amount that is in your dog's food. So take one piece of kibble and you pie it up, and the larger size pies in your graph is going to be on the top, and the little slivers of pies is going to be on the bottom. Okay, so when you read this list and you see coloring and flavoring and things, and they're usually at the very, very bottom of your ingredients list. And that's because there's not very much of it. So I have literally gone through, most recently, especially with these DCM scares and esophagitis, mega esophagitis, my tongue's going to be twisted through this whole video. Okay, there's so many words and so many things that they don't want you to even be able to pronounce, let alone read. So I'm going to take your patience, please, towards me. But again, highest weight, most in your food, most important ingredients are in the top. So if you start seeing corn, preservatives, coloring, fillers, all in the top 2 lines, top 10, I like to look at, then you have, go find a new food, basically. Do some more research on those fillers. Okay, so now that we're here and I've explained the weight and everything like that, the biggest thing is you want to try to find something that best suits you. Now, I am going to be absolutely 100% honest with you. Not every food is perfect. I've found my pros and cons between all of the foods. And if it's some fillers, some colorings, preservatives that's in the food, natural preservatives like rosemary I would prefer, but then they have all the BHT, which is a preservative, and that is no good. So, biggest thing, you will never find a perfect dog food. It's not out there. And just like our dog foods, we have to weigh what we're willing to sacrifice, because to get the FDA and to also get AFFCO to really understand the foods that we're feeding our dogs, they have to test it. And that means animal testing. And that means dogs that are in facilities and animals and cats, pets that will live their lifetime in a facility to test this food. So there is a very fine line that you want to push with what we're given. So you just need to be educated on what you're looking for in your food, and the top 10 is always a good indicator. So that leads us into our product analysis. It's called a analysis guarantee. It is a little box like this here that gives you percentages. AFCO has regulations, and those regulations say that there has to be certain things to your dog's food, right? So we want them to hit those guidelines, and they're just minimums. We want maximums, but a lot of foods don't have it, and sometimes to get quality food, you have to meet in the middle, like me. This is from, okay? So, when I look at this label here, I'm looking at the first 10 ingredients here. Then I'm going to look at the analysis guarantee here. Make sure it hits all the percentages I want it to. Make sure it's at least higher than what AFCO has released as your bare minimum should be in food. The third thing I'm going to look at is the best buy date. People don't look at that. When you buy food, make sure it is not expired. Dog foods get stuck in warehouses, stuck in the back rooms, between handlers, trucks, and grocery stores and pet food stores, and bags get left on the bottom. And I have personally bought in a bag of food that was expired by 2 years. Okay, so this is nobody's fault because it goes through so many hands, but it is the third thing that you need to look at your food. So a label right here. Look at your analysis, look at your ingredients, and look at your best by date. Okay, so that is your first, go-tos, things that you should just automatically know how to do. Okay, then we're going to go into the ingredients and what's good for your dog and what's not, and then I'm just going to tell you what I personally have taken from it and what I would feed my dogs over all this research that I've done over the years. And it's a lot. My head wants to explode. I'm still to this day confused, and I can't even imagine what a normal dog owner can feel like. So the three things that I just went over are those three things to look at on your dog food label. Now, these are the AFCO regulations on bare minimums, and they only have 2 life stages, basically. Your growth and nutrition, which is your puppy to adult, and then they have your mature and adjusted, which is adult to senior, and that's all they give you regulations for. So right here, 22% is your bare minimum value for crude protein, right? Oh, hi. How are you doing? The second is crude fat, 8.5. So that means no matter what, when you look at your dog food, you don't want anything lower than those things, than what this says here. And AFCO, Association of American Feed Control Officials. Okay, so basically the FDA goes to AFCO to see what regulations they need to meet for dog food and pet food, cat food as well. So this is a great website, a little confusing, They give you PDF files and they're all law mumbo jumbo, and that's what you get left with. You have to read through a lot of stuff that you don't want anything to know about. So this here is, I'm going to just label it off really fast. These are bare minimums that dog food should meet. 22% crude protein. And this is for your puppy to adult, okay? Growth values. 8.5 crude fat, 0% moisture, 1.2% calcium, and 1.0% phosphorus. Now, calcium and phosphorus need to work together, basically. So if you have calcium, you have to have phosphorus to absorb it for our dogs, because they can't regulate it as well as humans can. Okay, and then we're going to go into the mature aspect of it, and that's going to be 20% crude protein, 7.6% crude fat, 10% moisture, 1.08% calcium, and 0.9% phosphorus. Okay? Very, very, very confusing. And I know it is backwards, and I'm terribly sorry. I tried to figure out how to flip it so I would be able to return it on here, and I don't know how to put things up on the screen, and I'm not all technology friendly on that. And so AAFCO's guidelines right there. Once we have gone through that, I have all the ingredients and analysis for Pro Plan, for Blue Wilderness, Blue Freedom, and I also have From in front of me. From Gold. Okay, so we're going to kind of go over all of that stuff, and it's a little confusing, but again, I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. Okay, and that is simple. 3 things you do not want in your dog's food at all, ever, and never again. If you have read your ingredients list right now, if you have your dog food in front of you, get it right now so you can look over the ingredients as I talk about all these things, okay? So, some things here. I call them PCFs, and it's basically just preservatives, colorings, and flavorings. BHA, and I'm going to butcher all these words, by the way, okay? It's called BHA, and it's called batulated hydroanisole, okay? It's a preservative. You don't want it in your food. I don't even need to give you a reason why it should not be in there. Another one, BHT, very close to the other one. It is botulised hydroxytaurine. There we go. Again, super confusing. You can always message down below. I can say it again. I can even maybe post it somewhere so you guys have them. And then the last one. Now, this one's rough, but here we go. And that is ethoxyquin. Okay? Back in the 90s, it was flagged and recalled. And the FDA said, hey, dog food places, cut it in half. The reason why it was recalled is because it was causing reproductive problems, skin allergies, cancer, organ failures, and all the FDA said is cut it in half. So, now, I didn't read this anywhere, but if I ate less of something, so if I had a pack of cigarettes today, and the FDA said, well, only do half of it, does that mean I die or get diagnosed with cancer any less? Just a question. Because that's what the FDA said. So does that mean our dogs get diagnosed with cancer when they're in old age and maybe it doesn't get reported as much? I don't know. That's a question to ask yourselves, and I asked myself because there's no literature on it. Besides the fact that the FDA in the 90s said, hey, cut it in half and we'll be okay. And the dog food companies did. Now we're getting a little bit more smart, and, you know, our puppies are a little bit more broadcasted as our families. So people are, and dog food companies are taking more care, and we are, you know, fighting for good quality food. And I think that is starting to show. But that also in tunes with all the grain-free things that are out there and boutique foods and things that now we are seeing DCM coming from in our large breed dogs. And a lot of that is from grain-free, amino acid deficiencies. I mean, they go on and on, but that is a whole nother video. Okay, so back to the fillers. Those top three, BHA, BHT, and ethoxyquin, are bad. They shouldn't be in your food. And you know what? All these foods that ingredients that I have out here do not have them. So that's good. But I did see a version of Kibbles and Bits that has I can't even say it. Woo! Ethoxyquin. Okay? And it did have it on the bottom 10. So, take it or leave it as you want. But again, it is a good question to ask. So then, some questions about meat byproducts. Or should we say byproduct meal? Meal byproducts or byproduct meal? Are they the same? Does anyone know if they're the same? They absolutely are not. And this is where it gets confusing. Now, I have done so much research, and when you try to look up labels of dog food companies, it's very hard. They actually have like pictures of them, the pictures of the bag, but they actually don't have it posted anywhere that you could copy and paste or highlight it. A good majority of the companies are that way, and I feel that is a way that they can deter companies to kind of calculate and just generate dog food ingredients. That's just my feeling. Whatever the case may be, byproduct meal, bad. Meal byproduct, good. Okay, so meal byproduct is pieces of the liver, heart, kidney, scraps of the tissues of those organs, and those are very good for your dogs. They give you great amino acids for your dogs, which is good for your dogs. So meal, if it starts with a meal, it's good. If it starts with a by, it's bad. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Don't even put it in my dog's food. Okay? So, meal, byproduct, good. Byproduct, by meal. Do we know what that is? It's basically boiled down anything. Feathers, guts, fats, feet, hooves, hair. It's for flavoring. It's not good. So buy product meal. Leave it out of your dog's food. Okay? So things to avoid in your dog's food are digest. Something here that I have seen, the Purina Pro Plan, they have great analysis guarantee. There are crude proteins at 28 to 30%. That's all good. Crude fat, all of it hits AAFCO's guidelines and above, way above. Their amino acids are high. You know, I've done tons of research, and it's super good. I don't know. He's out there. Out there. Outside, maybe? Well, you gotta go look for him. He's not in here. Sorry, guys. So, okay, shut my door, please. He's not. He's not hiding in here. Sorry, my kids. They don't believe me. What is this? So, give me a second. Try to get 20 minutes or even 15. Okay, so something I found in the Pro Plan, they have great everything, really do. They have 22 synthetic preservatives. I don't know if some of them are good, some of them are bad. I just know there's 22 of them, and they're all synthetic preservatives, when rosemary is a really great preservative. And honestly, I could care less if my dog food lasted a year and a half or 2 years. So 22 synthetic preservatives is a lot to me, but again, I am not a nutritionist. I'm not a dog nutritionist either, veterinarian nutritionist. But something I did see is Digest, Animal Digest, here in their ingredients list. It's actually pretty high on the list. It's not quite in the middle. It's probably the end of the top is how I would read it. And Digest, let's talk a little bit about that. It's flavoring additive. It is cooked down questionable animal parts of euthanized animals, animals that didn't make it to slaughter, roadkill, rats, spoiled meats from the grocery store. That's Digest. So I don't want to eat that. So I don't know if you would like to eat that or if you would want your dog to eat that, but Animal Digest is not for me. And I am for Pro Plan because they have great protein and they have great fiber and all these great things, but then you look at the ingredients and it's not at the bottom of the list. It is probably the top 30. Just to save us time, I'm not going to count it, okay? Yeah. Oh my God. I know, right, Susan? It's like I supported Pro Plan. I've fed my dogs Pro Plan before. I don't anymore. But that's questionable to me. And, again, I'm going to repeat myself. Not any dog food I have read is not perfect. None of them are. And you know what? Feeding raw is best. I've heard that everywhere. Yeah, it is. If you are a veterinarian nutritionist and know exactly the proportions per weight, per calories that your dog needs in protein, fiber, calcium, bones, everything. I mean, it's just too much. For me, personally, yeah, if you are so good at it, then go ahead, feed raw, because at this point your dogs need the protein. But I don't know if I could. As a person that is dedicated to my dogs, I would cook for them every day. I would chop down, go to the butchers, I would do all of that, but I can't trust myself and my knowledge and my education towards this to be enough to feed all these foods. So that's why I don't like boutique foods. A big reason I don't like boutique food and small breed foods is because they don't have enough veterinarian nutritionists and cardiologists on their teams to really analyze their food and go over everything and make sure it is healthy. So that's why I stick to a little bit higher, but not the highest. I mean, Purina is a big brand. It really is. And all their other lines, I would spit on them. But I like Pro Plan. But again, I don't anymore. I don't think I could feed my dog Purina Pro Plan unless everything else, there wasn't anything better. So again, none of them are perfect. So avoid Digest. Avoid corn products. They can say corn any which way you want to say corn. Your dogs cannot digest it. You don't see wild dogs, you don't see domesticated dogs going and chasing a cornfield, okay? I've had my dogs eat broccoli, I've had my dogs eat rice, I've had my dogs eat, carrots. I don't see them eating corn. It's hard for humans to digest, and for meat eaters being our dogs, I just avoid corn. Everywhere I read, it says avoid corn, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to avoid corn. Again, I'm not a professional. I am just very well versed in what I've researched over the years. So, Digest, bad, yucky stuff, rats. Gook. No one wants that. It will say animal digest. It'll say chicken digest. Poultry digest. They will say it any which way. Digest is bad. Okay? Sorry, I'm such a goofball. So corn, no go. I'm not going to feed it unless everything else is perfect and there's corn low on the list. I might feed it. Byproduct meal. What'd I say? Bye. Don't feed it. I don't want to even see it on my stuff. It's hair. It's gook. Again, gook. So we're not going to feed byproduct meal. We're going to feed meal byproduct, though, because that's good stuff. Good amino acids, good liver pieces, and all the good heart tissues and things that can't be a whole heart, so they won't put it on there, but it is meal byproduct, and that's what that is. It does carry some blood, which is some cheap protein that does get put in there, but you know what? It's protein. It's clean. I don't see anything too bad about that. BHA, BHT, and ethoxyquin, bad. So those are things to avoid in your food. I know. It's confusing, and it's a lot. And we're there. But some really good advice that I'm going to tell you. If you have a puppy, and when I say puppy, I've actually just recently talked to a friend of mine, and her dog food said, stop feeding your puppy food at 8 to 10 months. Well, your puppy is still a puppy until 16 to 18 months. They're not fully grown. And for large breed dogs, that's even 2 years. So a year and a half, 2 years, that's... So the biggest thing, my advice, when you go to feed your dog and look for dog foods, if you have a puppy, look for puppy food. Your puppy is a puppy until a year and a half. If you have an adult dog, I want you to look for adult food. Not all life stages. Some are great, but all life stages for a puppy, not that great. All life stages for an adult, okay. I can definitely look over the ingredients and the profiles and see what we're doing. And if it's great, then that's good. I want to make sure that it hits AAFCO's ratings here. If it doesn't, then it's not what I'm going to feed my dog. And then seniors. So I'm going to large breed puppy. If it is a large breed puppy, that means they are 50 pounds at adult weight or higher. Feed large breed puppy, not just puppy. They need the calories. They need that. Again, these companies, they have all these nutritionists on their staff for a reason. So if I have a large breed puppy, which a golden doodle is a large breed puppy, if you have the standard that's 50 pounds or above, I'm going to feed a large breed puppy. If I have a 40-pound adult puppy, so when he'll be 40 pounds when it's a puppy, then I'm just going to feed puppy. Adult and all life stages, start feeding between a year and a half to 7 years. Okay? That's your adult. But after 6.5, I'd start looking for mature and senior. They are formulated for their eyes, their joints, their arthritis, those things. Why is this so important? It is so important because we pay so much for our dog food, okay? For our dogs, we would give anything for our dogs. So let's follow what the dog food companies have done. They've broken down their dog food to fit the life stages of your dog and the type of dog. Large breed dog, small breed dog, all life stages or adult food, sport. If you have a sport dog, they have sport brands. Really look into those because you want to fit what your dog's category is. It's not a big blanket statement of dog food. Okay? So that's important, and it's important to me, and it should be important to you. So You have large breed, small breed. You want to fit into those dynamics. You want to fit the AFCO's minimums. I won't feed 22% protein. That's their minimum. Your dog needs to eat protein. So when we look at From Gold large breed puppy, guess what? I have large breed puppies. Half of them are young, so I'm going to still feed them this. The other half feed the adult version of this, and I get good things. Again, it's not perfect. I'm going to tell you right now. There's some things on here that I question, but after I have read all of these ingredients and analysis, I have done kibble and bits. I have read all of them. It's not good. There's the avoid list is definitely on there, on all of them. Some of them, they say their protein's like 36%. Which one is that? Protein's 36%. You want to feed your dog protein, so it's the first thing you're going to think, yeah, that's a good one. Where is it? I know there's 30%. We'll go with the 30%. There is a 36%, but I don't know where it is. That would be the ProPlan Sport, 30%. Great. We have Animal Digest. We have Poultry Byproduct Meal. I'm sorry, that's the fourth ingredient on there. Byproduct meal, remember? So we're looking at chicken and is the first ingredient. Great. I love chicken. Corn gluten meal is the second. So remember, as you read these, the first ones you read is the most that your dog's going to be eating. That's what it's mostly composed of. So the second one, brewer's rice. That's the third one. So now we got chicken. That's great. Corn gluten meal. Not so great. Brewer's rice. Nope. Animal preservatives with mixed triclosyphenols. I don't know about that. It's a form of vitamin E in parentheses. Okay? And poultry byproduct meal. Whole grain corn, corn germ meal, and fish meal. Okay, I like fish meal. Animal Digest. So there's our first three lines of ProPlan Sport. I have 30% protein in here. I have 20% crude fat, 3% fiber, great calcium, great in their analysis. Truly is. The ingredients aren't so great. I'm looking at those and I just don't see greatness, and I liked this food. I feel horrible. I've recommended it. I've actually fed it to my dogs. And I really wanted to break down and make this video, and my jaw dropped, to be honest with you. Every breeder I know feeds Purina ProPlan puppy. I know a lot of them, probably 50% or more feed ProPlan. Yeah, I'm not thrilled with it, and I wouldn't feed it to my dog anymore. So I'm not a professional, guys. I'm not a nutritionist, and but I do know how to read a ingredient list pretty well now. I have for 10 years for human food, and I've always known how to read dog food, but I guess I skipped a boat. I just kind of hit, what is that saying? You just went with the tide. Everyone else was feeding it, saying, ranting and raving, and I thought, oh, well, maybe. So, we're at Freedom Blue Wilderness, healthy, holistic, grain-free. Let's avoid grain-free for large breed dogs with a predisposition to DCM, please. Oh, hi, Dad. My dad's watching. Okay, so some great benefits. It says it has DHE. It's for large breed puppy recipe. Again, we want to follow with what category our dogs are in. Yeah. dried yeast, and probably over 100 ingredients that I cannot even name. It doesn't mean they're bad at all. Pea fiber, I kind of want to avoid pea fiber. Again, they think it might be related to DCM, so why not try to avoid it in the top 10 to 30? Top 10 is fish oil, natural flavoring, fatty acids, chicken byproduct. There, byproduct, remember? So byproduct, bad. Meal byproduct, good. Yep. But they do use rosemary, which is great. Extract of rosemary. That is a natural preservative, and it's also a natural flavoring, and that's great. It is the very last ingredient, but it is just a preservative. So that means they might have less preservatives in here if they're using rosemary. Crude protein, 26%. That's a good protein. I like 26 or higher personally. And our crude fats, 15%. That's good. And fiber, 6%. Calcium for a puppy, 1.2. They said they're part of AAFCO's guidelines, but AAFCO's guidelines clearly says calcium needs to be 1.5. So I don't know what that means. I could be wrong. Maybe it's outdated information, but you're so smart. I love you. Oh, hi, Mom. So I have my mom and my dad watching me instead. So no one else. So after all of this, and you go through everything, your dogs are your family. I don't know how many times I have heard that. How many times I have said that myself. And so we're going to just hit some bullet points, and then I'm going to leave you because this was a really long video. I was trying to make it really short so everyone would watch it, but I failed. So, again, follow your breed's category, meaning your puppy category. Is it a large breed dog? Is it a small breed dog? Is it a normal breed puppy dog? Is it senior dog? Is it mature dog or a sports dog? You know, these companies, I'm not going to deter away from these big companies. Purina Pro Plan, I'm kind of disappointed. Blue Buffalo and all their different versions of Blue Buffalo, it's okay. I really like From Gold. Let's just top 3 ingredients: chicken, chicken meal, chicken broth. Right there. None of these had the first 3 ingredients all being meat. They all had something else. Then we go into oats and groats. Pearled barley, brown rice, potatoes, and fish meal. We got chicken fat, and we got dried egg product, chicken liver, whole oats, flaxseed, brewer's dried yeast, whole barley, cheese, salmon oil, duck, lamb, carrots, sweet potato, celery, alfalfa meal. Those are the top 30 roughly. You know, your top little paragraph when you picture it in your head. And then towards the end, again, I'm not seeing anything on my avoid list. There is no digest. I don't see any corn. I don't see anything that says by product meal. Remember, by product meal. I do not see BHA, BHT, or ethoxyquin, and I would probably feed my dog this. There are a couple things that I don't like in it. Tomato pomace. What is that? I know grape pomace you want to stay away from. Tomato pomace, I haven't heard anything bad about it, so I don't know what it is. I would really like for them to create a couple more breed-specific brands, and their crude protein is at 26%. I pay a lot for this food. It should be a little bit higher. Crude fat's great. Fiber's great. Moisture's great. There's nothing bad about it. Nothing that stands out in my avoid list. Okay? And again, no dog food is perfect. You're not going to find them. But I see here, I would feed my dogs this food. It even says that it is established by AAFCO's dog food nutrition profiles, which is great. Yeah. I know it's family owned. I know it's in the, there's two warehouses in Wisconsin. I also know that they've had one recall. That recall was for more vitamin D in the foods. They pulled the food themselves. They found the problem, and there was no reports to their problem. So no dogs suffered from it that we can see. And it was canned food. This is dry food. And that's it. Let's see. Blue Wilderness in 2017 had a lead problem. Purina Pro Plan, Purina in general, they have had many recalls and problems in the past, but they have bettered themselves in the Pro Plan sector of the world. There are other brands I'm not too familiar with and I don't really like, so if I am familiar with them. So again, that's where we're at. I like calorie calculators for dogs. Definitely petnutritionalliance.org has a great calorie calculator for your dog. It goes over your foods through calories, your dog's weight, and it lets you know how much you should feed your dog per pound per cup of food. So that's a really good thing that I do use for my dogs. And again, we're going to go over, we want 22% more or more protein. And in puppy food, you want 0.15% or more of calcium. You don't want to have too much, 0.18. You start getting in too high, then it's too much for them. You want your phosphorus to be 0.1 or 1.0% to 4%. And you do want vitamin D. A lot of these companies don't even list it. So we don't know about all of that. One moment. So, avoid list. Digest. Yucky. Corn. Yucky. Byproduct meal. Yucky. BHA. BHT. And ethoxyquin. Bad. I'm tired. My mind is still confused because you can't find a perfect dog food. I wish I could. I wish I could read all the ingredients and all the things. I would love to have a 30% protein and have all great ingredients. I can't find it anywhere. Avoid grain-free food. Buy product meal. And all those fun things. And remember, the top of your ingredient list is the most of what your food is comprised with. So, and as you go down the list, it is the least. So that's how you read your dog food labels. Make sure you look at your sell-by date and look at your analysis guarantees so you know how much protein and stuff is in your food. And that is what you're going to get out of me today. So if you have any questions, drop comments below. Share this video if you want to give other pet lovers some well-deserved information that I worked very hard for over the years and over the days to make it a little bit more user-friendly for you. So please have a great day. Feed your dog well. Make them part of the family. If you don't want to eat it, I would not eat any of that food. So even the good stuff. But you know what? My dogs love From Gold puppy food. So, and I have had no problems with it. And it's not perfect, but we're not all perfect. And it is big enough that they have a lot of different nutrition veterinarians on staff, cardiovascular veterinarians, especially with this DCM scare, and grain-free foods. So you know what? If you have any questions, I am here. I will answer them for you. And you can also private message me if you would like, if it's a little bit more personal. And that is it, guys. I hope I helped a little bit. I hope you know how to read a dog food label and you feel a little bit more confident about what you are dealing with every day. You gotta feed your dog well. Bye, guys.